Hello, I'm Mark Jenkins and welcome to my test studio in London. The idea of this studio is to include all the main methods of sound synthesis and keyboards and modules by all the main companies, so it's possible to compare one against another. Today we're having a quick look at the Polybrute by Arturia, the new 6-note polyphonic development from Matrix Brute, and as well as being 6-note polyphonic, the keyboard is velocity and aftertouch sensitive. There's a new type of modulation controller called the Morphing, and is a modulation bend strip. Let's just switch on and have a look at one of the first of the preset sounds. Please listen on headphones. We've got stereo width set to maximum and the sounds are coming direct from the Polybrute with no effects other than the internal effects. So here's a first polyphonic patch, Brute Embrace. A quick look there at what the Morphing modulation pad does. Let's move on to another sound cassette. This is like a lo-fi electric piano. And another pad sound. You can hear the aftertouch working on that one. And a bass sound, obviously with an analog synth you'd expect a good hard bass. And a sequence sound. The Polybrute has a built-in sequencer and arpeggiator similar to that on the Matrix Brute. Something more like a lead sound, obviously, although it's polyphonic. The Polybrute has unison modes which make it good for lead sounds. Let's just look at another pad type sound, Magic Sweep, and have a look at what the filters do. As on the Matrix Brute, there's a Steiner-Parker filter, which is a high pass, low pass, band pass, and a 24 dB per octave low pass filter, and you can have those in parallel or in series. And there's a master cutoff which edits both those filters at the same time. Let's just have a quick look at exactly what these two filters do on the Arturia Matrix Brute as on the Polybrute. The first is called a Steiner filter. It's the design from the Steiner-Parker Synthicon, and it's a switchable mode filter, switching from low pass to band pass to high pass with cutoff and resonance. The second filter is a 24 decibel per octave low cut only, again with cutoff and resonance. But you can organise these two filters either in series or in parallel, so you get a quite different effect, because you can have some sound coming direct from the low pass filter and direct from the Steiner filter, which might be set to band pass or high pass. However, whichever mode you have them set in, there's a master cutoff which adjusts both at once. So let's just have a look at this pad sound magic sweep. Let's just initialize it. Now we're going to adjust the Steiner filter set to high pass, so you should notice the bass end disappear. A lot of the bass end gone there, but we can make it resonate. So we can get these whistling type sounds. And let's go to band pass, which starts to lose the top as well as the bottom. You can hear all the top has gone off that sound, becomes very smooth. Incidentally, on the Steiner filter you have this brute factor control, basically because this filter overloads in quite a useful manner. So that's a slightly harsher sound. Going to the second filter, the 24 dB low pass, now that's doing just one job. So if we cut that down, we will hear all the top beginning to cut off this sound. So all the top has gone off that sound, it becomes a lot smoother and duller. But we do have the option of boosting resonance there, and we have a distortion option. On something like the Mini Moog, a little distortion was introduced into the filter almost accidentally and made it a much more powerful and cutting sound. So that's a useful option here. So you can hear that filter as it cuts down with a little bit of overloading going on, and that helps give you these powerful twangy filter sounds. Now let's just put the two filters in parallel with a little bit of resonance and a little bit of distortion on each. We set the Steiner filter to high pass, while the conventional filter is still on low pass. And you have a lot of change in texture depending on what you do with the two filters their resonance and the master cutoff. So that's just a quick look at the dual filter mode on the Arturia synths, the Steiner-Parker 3-mode filter and the 24 dB ladder filter. So this sound we just made up based on the Magic Sweep patch is as good a place as any to start looking at some of the adjustable sound options on the Polybrute. Now obviously we're listening to two oscillators there. Let's turn one of them down in the mixer and make sure the noise is down as well. We start by listening to just a single VCO. You can adjust the tuning, and if it's on a square wave, adjust the pulse width. Or mix in a sawtooth and triangle wave. It's also a parametrical metalizer. That can be quite a harsh distortion if you want. And you can also sync oscillator 2 to 1. Going on to VCO2, you have a sub oscillator here. And you can frequency modulate 2 from 1. As well as modulating the filter at audio frequencies from the oscillators. You can mix in white noise and have adjustable colour. Looking at the two filters, the Steiner-Parker filter, which is a 3-mode low pass, high pass or band pass at 12 decibels per octave, that has resonance and a setting called brute factor, which is a distortion level. And then on the more conventional 24 decibel low cut filter, which again has resonance, you have a distortion setting. So you can get enormous amounts of distortion out of the filter sections. Now let's lose the white noise, put the oscillators back up. In fact, we'll just go to a basic patch. This is a good lead line. Some glide patched in there. I'm just looking at the envelopes. Obviously you have a conventional set of envelopes with attack, decay, sustain and release for the filter under VCA, and also for modulation as well. Here's a slow attack. And here's a quick decay and release. Let's just have a look at some of the sequencer and arpeggiator sounds. In the first sound bank, they're simply down here in the J settings. And at some special effect sounds, which is something you can come up with if you have a lot of modulation options. I want to take a quick look at the modulation ribbon. Here's a simple pad sound. Nothing happening at the moment, so you simply select modulations, ribbon Y, and give it a semitone setting. Here, big one, 36 semitones. That's something that puts you in mind of the old Yamaha CS80. Finally, a quick look at the effects section with a delay with programmable level and time. And a BBD setting, which is a analog type echo. Good for 50s type sci-fi sounds. And a reverb with level and damping. That's a hall setting, alternatively a shorter plate setting. And then some alternative types. These come up on the small display at the top. You can have things like spring reverbs and delayed plate. And in fact, this display shows a lot of alternatives, again with the delay. You can have car-plus type delays, various types of stereo separation and so on. So what you find on the control switches is not the only options that you have for all these programmable parameters on the Polybrute. Well, that's the end of that feature. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There'll be a lot more to come.